Alright guys and girls, this is Jerningham here. We're going to be doing a video about COVID-19 can catch cold, protecting against COVID-19. UK News, Sky News.
New research shows the virus that causes the common cold can help our bodies stop coronavirus from spreading. Scientists at Glasgow University found that human rhinovirus triggers an immune response, blocking COVID-19 from replicating in cells in our respiratory tracts. It raises the possibility that catching a cold could provide some protection against the virus. Professor Pablo Murcia is part of the team behind the research, and we can speak to him now. Professor, thanks very much indeed for being with us. I've done my best to explain what you found, but I wonder if you can tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, thank you for having me. You explained it really well. So what we studied and we published over a year ago that human respiratory viruses interact both at the epidemiological level, that is at the population level, and at the individual patient level. And the most notable example of those interactions was between rhinovirus, the agent of the common cold, and influenza A virus. So we wonder whether there could be interactions between rhinovirus and SARS-CoV-2. So in the absence of epidemiological data due to all the diagnostic efforts towards detecting SARS-CoV-2, plus the effect of the intervention measures that are stopping the spread of natural transmission of respiratory viruses, what we decided to do was to perform experiments, but we did these experiments using highly sophisticated cell cultures. And these are cell cultures of human tracheobronchial cells that are differentiated in a way that mimic to great extent the lining of our respiratory tract. What we did was then infect these cultures with rhinovirus and with SARS-CoV-2 and observe that in the presence of rhinovirus, SARS-CoV-2 couldn't replicate in the respiratory epithelium. And we did this in different ways, infecting first with SARS-CoV-2, leaving it for 24 hours, and then infecting with rhinovirus, and we observed a similar effect. And then we carried on doing further experiments to try to understand the mechanism behind this. And what we show is that rhinovirus triggers a transient innate immune response, which is mediated by by interferon, and that blocks the replication of SARS-CoV-2. Then to try to understand the relevance of this, because our work was experimental,
That's my
we
hand.
collaborated with Imperial College
Gets a bit
London,
sore holding the
they
phone for
used
so long
mathematical
sometimes.
models to try to determine what the epidemiological impact of these interactions could be. And what the mathematical models show is that when you have high prevalence of rhinovirus, common colds, that would cause a decrease in the number of new COVID-19 cases.
So effectively, a rhinovirus is a relatively selfish virus, and it wants you to itself. It says there's no room for anything else. How in real life, in the real world, outside of the laboratory, could this be used to try and reduce case numbers?
Well, the best tool we have to reduce case numbers is without any doubt the vaccines. Okay, so this will be the main barrier for SARS-CoV-2 to spread in the population. Then on top of that, what we think as an additional barrier, this virus will have to compete with other respiratory viruses. And we have quite a few respiratory viruses that circulate commonly in the population: influenza A, B, respiratory syncytial virus, parainfluenza viruses, etc.
Because of the measures that we've been taking, though, Professor, over the course of the last year, with social distancing, with increased hand hygiene, for example, have we seen rates of those common colds, of influenza, falling?
Well, yes. What we have seen is that all the intervention measures that have been put in place have reduced significantly the transmission of most respiratory viruses. Yes.
Common colds, we all accept it, it's part of life. It's also relatively short-lived, isn't it? Does that then mean it only gives protection for a short period of time?
That's correct. So this innate immune response is a response that is triggered by the cells when they get infected or when they sense a viral infection. And this is a short-lived response. The effect that we think might happen at the population level is based on the high level, the high transmissibility of the common cold virus.
Okay, fascinating talking to you. Who would have thought we'd be embracing the common cold? But Professor Pablo Mercier, thank you very much.
Well, that was an interesting video. So yeah, anyway, thank you for joining me. Give it a like, give it a comment, share your friends. See you next one. Peace. My hand. I'm crazy now. Peace.